Are you on mute? I can't hear you.
My apologies. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the yet exciting episode of our LinkedIn Live series, Human Edge Meets AI, where we explore how to thrive in the AI age. I'm your moderator, Ida Nayar Sharma. Today's topic is white collar jobs are at 10 times the risk. The opportunity to reinvent is now. We are thrilled to have Nitin Seth join us again. Welcome, Nitin.
Hello,
Nitin,
Ida. Really looking forward to our conversation today, and also exciting that today I'm in Gurgaon, and so doing the conversation from last two conversations were from New Jersey. This one is from Gurgaon.
absolutely. We are all excited to have you here. Uh, as we all know, Nitin is a global leader, co founder, and CEO of Inseedo, and best selling author of 3 books on digital data, AI, leadership, and future of work. His latest book, Human Edge in the AI Age, raises some critical questions and offers practical insights for anyone looking to thrive in the AI driven world. Welcome back, Nitin, and thank you for taking the time to talk to us again. In our last session, we discussed how AI is reshaping industries, unlocking new opportunities. Today, we're shifting the lens to the human impact, especially the question many people are quietly worried about: the future of jobs. While some leaders like Elon Musk envision a utopian world where work becomes optional, for many people, the pressing concern is far more immediate. What does the AI age actually mean for jobs and livelihoods? Nitin warns us that the great role reversal is already underway. White collar roles are 10 times more at risk than blue collar jobs. So let's dive right in and hear more from Nitin on this. Nitin, you estimate that nearly 100 million white collar jobs could be impacted by AI in the next 5 years. As staggering as this number is, you also suggest that this is just a beginning. Could you explain the role reversal you're referring to and how do you see this playing out over time?
Yeah, in our conversations about AI, now we get to the difficult but inevitable conversation, which is what AI is going to do to jobs. And it's I think going to be a very significant impact. And Ida, as you put it, white collar jobs are at a lot more of risk than the blue collar jobs, at least to begin with. And that goes to the fundamental nature of AI, that I think in one of our previous conversations, we have spoken about how AI is now impacting or is doing work, which we have thought is innately human. So we
Right.
had spoken about how machines have been playing a
Yeah.
role in problem solving, but AI, especially with Gen AI, is playing a key role in problem identification, which is just opens up a completely new arena. We spoke about
Yes.
creativity. While creativity remains a human edge, but still AI plays a big role in that. And we also spoke about empathy or EQ more broadly. How a lot of counseling is now done by AI, whether good or for bad, but it is
True.
happening. So a lot of this is what if you look at what all of these type of activities lead up to, these are the most valued white collar jobs. That of management consultants. I think about back to my own career and growing up as a management consultant in McKinsey. I think a lot of what I did and what my teams did and what the consultants do today, can certainly at the same time, if I look at what a marketeer does, a lot of that from content creation to actually running campaigns, can be done by AI. If I look at my own business at Inseedo, a lot of the software development or even sophisticated data science oriented work can be done by AI is getting done by AI. So
Right.
it's we are in a very interesting phase that while technology has always driven automation, and AI is also driving automation. This is not just of the transactional task. This is of thought. This is
Hmm.
of decision making. This is what translates to the most valued white collar jobs. That we grow up. Kids grow up. Wanting to become bankers, marketeers, lawyers, consultants, and that's what AI is going to attack first. Now, of course, the respite for blue collar jobs is only it's not permanent. Over the next 5 to 10 years, maybe it's 10 years, as robots become more competent, the 1 to 10x gap between the impact on white collar jobs much higher. That's 10x of that of the blue collar jobs. Over the next 10 years, that will also narrow. Impact on blue collar jobs will also begin to have. But to begin with, the impact is more on the white collar jobs for sure.
Right. So you've also said that nearly 50% of today's jobs could be impacted in the long run, right? And that's also a sobering reality for many. So if traditional employments shrink at that scale, where do you see the new opportunities emerging?
Yeah, it's a big one. Over the next 15 years, 35 to 50% of all jobs today might go. We are talking about a couple of billion, over 2 billion jobs that might get lost. So that's a very, very, it's quite a scary reality.
Daunting. Yes.
But at the same time, I think there is a humongous opportunity, Ida. We spoke about it in our previous podcast, which was about every industry is also going to get disrupted in the AI age. And that disruption, and every industry from banking to retail to education, healthcare, agriculture is going to go through some disruption or a lot of disruption. Each one of them is going to create hundreds or maybe thousands or maybe a lot more than that new problem statements, okay, which AI
Right.
can address. And I think that's a tremendous, tremendous, tremendous opportunity for entrepreneurs. I don't think that's an opportunity only for big tech or for large companies. I actually believe that large companies may find it quite difficult to access those type of disruptive opportunities, but it's an opportunity for entrepreneurs. And I do think that the mix that we have seen between jobs and kind of entrepreneurs over the last 50, 100 years, I think that is set to change. So
Right.
there is, I think if we play it right, it should be AI should be unleashing a tsunami of entrepreneurship, and I think that will be a tremendous opportunity. It will be a lot more value creation. So while at one end, the next 10, 15 years are probably going to be mass scale destruction of existing jobs. But that 10, 15 years are also going to be the era of incredible value creation. That is also going to happen. And that value creation should not just be about a few large companies who drive that, but it should really be about democratizing entrepreneurship and hundreds of thousands of millions of entrepreneurs. And I think that will create a new wave of jobs that I think is not very easy to visualize today. But that's how I see it. AI age is the end of the era of jobs in a sense. Not all jobs will go, but it is going to impact it in a very significant way. But it also heralds the era of entrepreneurs.
Interesting. So, Nitin, most leaders describe the future as human plus AI. So, from your perspective, does this framing fully capture what lies ahead for us, or is there more to how fundamentally the human role will change?
See, it is human plus AI for sure. I definitely, if I did not envisage a future where humans have an important critical role to play, I would not write a book called Human Edge in the AI Age. So
True.
fundamentally, I believe humans are, we are a very adaptive species. AI is a big shift. It's a civilizational shift. But I'm hopeful, that we as humans, will adapt to it. Yeah. So just kind of go back again. What was just give me your question again, and I missed my thought for a second.
So we're saying that if the leaders talk about human plus AI framing, do you think this is the full
Yeah. So human plus AI for sure, but I think what also a lot of people are talking about is human in the loop. Yeah, which is that for a given process, human beings play, there is AI and there is human. Yeah, and humans play an important role, and that is very true from a short, but I would say from a short medium term perspective. Yeah.
Okay.
So see, because any process today, AI is at certain level, maybe it's 50, 60, 70%. It's probably not at a level, where you can fully put it into production. And that gap is context. That gap is context, which is what humans bring, and that's the human in the loop. But if you kind of progress it, the thing about AI is that AI is continuously learning, and AI will keep on becoming powerful, and each of those processes will move towards autonomous. Now, a good example of that are autonomous cars. If you ever traveled in a Waymo in San Francisco, you know what the future is going to look like. That it is going to move to autonomous. And so in that world, the human role in the loop shrinks. Yeah. So the way I think about, and what I would like to propose is the concept of human above the loop. Yeah, that any particular process, the loop, yes, human is required today, but AI will keep on becoming more dominant. So as humans, what we need to do is to be imagining or reimagining what is to be done, could be the business, the overall business model, could be a proposition, could be process, that is what I think where humans will bring value. And I think that is the human above the loop. Now, again, the human in the loop and human above the loop are not at odds with each other. It's a question of timing. For most existing processes, the human in the loop is certainly going to be relevant for the next couple of years. But we can't just rest with human in the loop, because AI will keep on creeping into that, and we have to be thinking about human above the loop.
Right. Okay. Human above the loop is a very unique concept that you brought about. Thank you for that. So when we're talking about human in the loop and above the loop both, what are some of the unique skills that will become critical in the AI age, and how do we develop those? And into addition to that, do the current skilling and reskilling strategies, are they enough for people to prepare for this shift?
See, there is a fundamental difference in skills that will be required, both going into human in the loop and then human above the loop.
Right.
So today, for most jobs, the skills that are, and if I take the example of the technology industry, the skills which are most valued are the technical skills. Yeah. So most professionals define themselves as I know Java, .NET, C++, and so on and so forth. Now, that's what AI is. So the skills in the short medium term that will be most important for human in the loop are the domain skills. Okay, because for human in the loop, the human value is the context, and that comes from the domain knowledge. So in the short, medium term, the big shift is from technical skills to domain skills. Okay.
Right.
And now, but from a medium long-term perspective, it is not human in the loop, but it is human above the loop. And for human above the loop, it is about entrepreneurial skills. So this is about creativity, ability to reimagine at a very large level, see the big picture, and it is about risk taking. Yeah, it is perhaps also about perseverance and resilience, because no entrepreneurial journey is complete without the many knocks that come in it. Yeah, and those are very, very different set of skills. And so moving from now coming in terms of the skilling approaches, moving from technical skills to domain skills is hard enough, but moving from domain skills to the entrepreneurial skills of creativity and risk taking is a very different ballgame. Now, for the technical to domain skills, it's not just the classroom. Yeah, that calls for real life experience. It calls for lived experiences. So it's a very different process. And again, the move from domain skills to entrepreneurial skills is again, very again different set of life experiences and exposure. And I think the of role modeling or mentors will become super important. And it's a very, very different process. It is, you build entrepreneurial skills by actually doing things, not just by talking or reading about it. And the roles of universities needs to change dramatically from from the classroom-based education that we've had for the last couple of 100 years. It has to be a very different process. It's not just process. Universities will need to rethink of themselves as ecosystems, which are bringing the startup community, the investors, the students, all of them together. It has very big implications for enterprises. I often think about it for my own company. That the learning and development approaches will need to change very, very significantly. And I think at this point we are still discovering it. I don't think that is very clear.
Okay, thank you. That gives us a lot of food for thought. And then you do argue that entrepreneurship at scale is essential for the AI age. I think you've talked about a lot of those capabilities, because since it's not very easy for everybody to start a company, right? So what does it really mean to be entrepreneurial? I think you've talked a lot about that. Given that India is a young service-led workforce, Nitin, does the AI age pose a greater risk, or is it a greater opportunity for the country? And how do you see this transition unfolding?
See, I want to parse the I think there are two questions. So I think first, this thing about entrepreneurship at scale and starting a company is not for everyone. Or see, I think these are assumptions. These are assumptions. We have to break these assumptions. Who said that? This whole thing about jobs, versus entrepreneurship. Who has defined that? This phenomena of jobs at scale is very much an industrial revolution driven phenomena. Post-industrial revolution, most people would be what we'll call self-employed. And post-industrial revolution, as we got scale in manufacturing and then the services sector, there was the phenomena of jobs at scale got created. At the same time, the risk taking, some people taking a lot of risk, a lot of people becoming very risk averse. So I think that broader orientation to risk needs to change. I think as human beings, we are naturally entrepreneurial, because the survival kind of gene is built into, is part of our makeup. Yeah. So that's how as humans we have grown, by taking risk and by exploring and by adapting continuously. And we have to always go back to that. We have to go back to that early man instincts. So we have to unleash a tsunami of entrepreneurship. I don't think we can take this thing as a given that entrepreneurship it's not for everybody. I think I completely disagree with that statement, and I think it's a very, very limiting statement. Now, entrepreneurship does not only mean doing a startup. Okay, entrepreneurship to me is fundamentally an act of creation, and to create something, you have to take a lot of risk. So, through a large part of my career, I worked in large firms, McKinsey, Fidelity, Flipkart, and each one of them, I think I was an entrepreneur, and those were large firms. But I think I built my own business. I took a lot of risk, and I think those firms also supported me. And this is like 20 years, over the last 25 years. So I think I was an entrepreneur before I set up my first startup, Active Karma, or Inseedo now.
Right.
So you can be an entrepreneur in any situation. So I just want to get that right. Okay.
Right.
And yeah, maybe more people might be entrepreneurs within a company than starting their own company, though I would encourage them to do the latter as well. Okay, so I just want to be clear about that part, because I get that question a lot. As far
Right.
as India is concerned, I think AI is a huge opportunity and also a huge threat. I think India is perhaps anything to do with India ends up being in extremes. Okay, there is no middle path in India. Okay, so because whatever you say about India, you can prove the opposite also with equal facts and conviction. So look, Indian economy is very services driven. The proportion of services is more than many other economies, even mature economies. Our manufacturing at the same time is rather limited. Our proportion of manufacturing is lower than most comparable economies. Plus, our age pyramid it's a very young age pyramid. Okay, so the combination of two is quite deadly. Okay, it's quite deadly, because if you are if you are Korea or Japan or maybe many of the European countries, AI is good news for you, because you have a dwindling workforce.
Right.
And so AI actually allows you to do more with fewer people. But India, we have a lot of people who we have to engage properly. So is the services jobs that will go first, as we discussed, the white collar jobs at 10x more risk than the blue collar, that is the manufacturing jobs. And because we have such a large workforce, young workforce, it is going to impact India more. But at the same time, I think India has a great opportunity to leapfrog, because there is also great entrepreneurial opportunity. India, a lot of this young population are digital natives.
Right.
And plus, there is over the last 10, 15 years, I think there is a certain self-confidence, which has come in, and there is an entrepreneurial energy which is getting unlocked in India at scale, at tremendous scale. So there is no reason, if the right enablers are put in place, that there cannot be a tsunami of entrepreneurship in India, AI-driven startups. A shift from India being like a dominant services nation to becoming a product nation, and those products not just for India, not just for global South, but for which are globally relevant. No reason why that can't happen. So I think it's a huge opportunity. And again, as an optimist, I would think that net, I would say this is a huge opportunity for India. But at the same time, the risk around job, the risk will play out first, because I think the job impact in the services sector we will start to see in real terms in India over the next 2 to 3 years, I think. So I think we will start to see that first. The entrepreneurial revolution may take more time to really kick off. So there could be some, so I think it's not that easy. That transition is not easy for India to manage, but overall, it could, if you play it right, it could be a tremendous opportunity.
Fantastic. Thank you, Nitin. This has been really insightful. And with that, let's open the floor for questions. I see there is a flurry of questions already pouring in. So the first one is, which sector will be impacted the most with job loss? Any saving grace for IT sector?
I think technology, tech services, and maybe also customer services will get impacted very significantly for sure. I already spoke about it that AI is very good at at doing the technical tasks. I say it many times that the fastest growing programming language in the world today is not Python, but it is English. So the technical jobs will get impacted for sure, and that productivity. Um, and in a lot of companies are reporting 35-40% type of numbers. The digital natives are reporting even higher numbers. So I think that is going to. I think that impact is there. We can't run away from it. I think also in customer service operations, I think for all of us, as we call up any helpline,
Yeah.
uh,
Yes.
not just the
True.
first the L1 support, but sometimes even beyond that is an agent. Is not a human. It's not a human agent. So I think
Right.
these are very very obvious industries, and I think there is large scale impact that will happen, and I think it is beginning to happen. Now, s- any saving grace for the IT sector? Of course. There are. It is such a large sector that the average hides a lot of things. There are going to be many opportunities. Of course, every company is also looking to build AI. Which involves both building the AI, and when you're building AI, it's also data. The AI cannot happen without the data infrastructure. So there is a lot of work around AI and data infrastructure, but it is also about building out, really driving business transformation and AI-driven use cases. And I think the scale, the scope, the ambition, the amplitude of the use cases will keep on increasing. Right now, they tend to be more internally oriented, more efficiency oriented. I think these use cases will keep on becoming bigger and bigger. So I think both of those are huge opportunities of building up the AI and data infrastructure, and but also driving that business transformation, and which translates into many use cases. So I love this analogy of the cars and the roads. Roads is the infrastructure, cars are the application. So there are many roads to be built, many highways to be built. Around those highways, there are many feeder roads to be built. There are many bylanes to be built. All of that new infrastructure of roads has to be built, and there are many cars that have to be designed, and then that will ride on those new roads.
Absolutely. Okay. The next question is from Nishita. So, can you recommend what field we students need to concentrate to stay relevant in the market?
So I think in a world which is changing very rapidly, you have to focus on things which are not going to change, and the skills which I would submit are most important. I think the first is problem solving. So while AI does a lot of the problem solving, but it is so important that as humans we can't give up on that. So structured problem solving, the ability to look at a range of problems and able to zone down on the core, is an invaluable skill. And in the AI age, in problem solving, it's also important to build in wisdom, which is the ability to look at problems deeply. Yeah. So problem solving is the first kind of skill I would suggest. The second is learnability. Now, as I said, that any technical skill is becoming, AI is kind of able to do that quite quickly. So the half-life, the time for which any functional or technical skill is relevant is shrinking, is declining. So the skill that becomes really important is learnability, that how you're able to master any new skill very, very quickly. And the third aspect is really building relationships, because again, in a virtual world, the human connection, the human relationships become even more important. Yeah, that's the edge. That's the human edge. Relationships are a human edge, and that ability to build relationships, and with that comes your ability to communicate and your ability to drive change. All of that comes in one bucket. So those are three things that I would really suggest that you focus on. Which is problem solving, learnability, and building relationships. Along with that, of course, there are aspects which I've talked about earlier in the conversation: human in the loop, human above the loop. Which is, I spoke about domain knowledge for human in the loop, and that entrepreneurial skills, which is creativity and risk taking for human above the loop.
Okay. The next one, Anzar Khan. So it seems like a situation in 90s when it was said that computerization will replace humans. It did, but it created multifold jobs in the market as well. Your thoughts?
Yes, answer. It seems like that. I feel that the magnitude of the opportunity and the challenge, and the threat is far higher than what we faced in the 90s. Yeah, because anything, the distinguishing feature of AI for me compared to any technology that we have seen so far is that Gen AI has absorbed the data of the world. So it's kind of like consciousness. It has a very, very, very broad range, and almost any problem out there, it gives you a real, starting point. The second is that it is continuously learning. It is continuously learning, and something which is continuously learning and compounding is very powerful. So I would submit the impact is higher than what we saw in 90s. We were in 90s, we were not saying that, still what computers was taking away what the more mechanical and the transactional aspects of what humans did. Now we are talking about the most sophisticated aspects of what we as humans do. So it's I think a bigger challenge, but the opportunity is also higher. I think the opportunity we saw with digitization, the opportunity with AI is, I think, an order of magnitude higher.
Right.
So yes, in a sense, there is a parallel, but both the threat and the opportunity, I would submit, is an order of magnitude higher.
Okay. The next one is, as AI systems become more autonomous, what specific decisions should always remain above the loop, guided by human judgment, ethics, and accountability, especially in regulated industries? This is from Ashwin.
I don't know, for just maybe it's a definitional point. I think decision making, I think, is within the loop. Okay. So, when I say above the loop, it is something completely new. I think that human role in decision making, which is, as you very rightly said, driven by ethics, and there are many aspects, which are not very easy to codify, is I think the human role in the loop. Okay, so I just want to clarify the definition of it. And of course, Ashwin, in regulated industries, financial services, healthcare, and for good reason, there is a lot which is human in the loop. Okay, a lot of decision making, which is because there is a high downside to those decisions. There's a high impact of those decisions. What you take in a bank, or even more so, what you take as a doctor, in that line of work, or what you take as a judge in a court of law. So those are very, very, those are, the impact of those decisions are very, very high. So I think for a long time, the human will remain in the loop. Though I do think that the nature, there is the heavily regulated industry, especially banking. I think, over the next 5-10 years, as the twin effect of blockchain and AI plays out, I think it will force like a rethink on what this industry is, and what regulation is needed or perhaps not needed. So generally, while there are aspects of AI which will require very strong regulations, especially on data privacy, data usage, big issue around biases and so on. But generally, I also think that it will push, more of deregulation and, more kind of, more, ability to innovate.
Okay. All right. The next one is, hi Nitin, is critical thinking still a human edge if AI can generate better arguments faster? And where should humans never fully delegate to AI? Sumit.
Sumit, very nice to see you here. And I think critical thinking is still a human edge. I think if we lose critical thinking, then we are done. Then we are done. Okay. So I often say that AI is becoming more human than humans, and humans are becoming more machine-like. I often start with that statement, and this is your question gets to that, and this is what I worry about a lot. Because AI is seemingly so good at generating arguments or options, as you put, Sumit, that it's kind of very tempting just to go with that. But if you just keep on, it's a very slippery slope. If you just keep on going down that path, it will lead to a decline of our cognitive skills, and that really will be like quite a a very, very damaging movement for us as humans. So I think it is essential that we not just retain but actually enhance our critical thinking. And that's why, Sumit, in my book, Human Edge in the AI Age, I've created this framework on what are the 8 timeless human skills, possible, and the first is problem solving. There's a reason for that. It was not just alphabetically or phonetically elegant, because I do believe that problem solving is the starting point. If we lose that to AI completely, then we are done. So absolutely, critical thinking is still a human edge. AI can maybe generate arguments faster, yes, but there is both about speed and depth. Okay. And so and I think that's where wisdom comes in, Sumit. Okay. So on average, you can do a lot of things with AI which are like, you can very quickly get to an average. But if you want to excel, if you really want to differentiate, then I think problem solving and wisdom in particular are absolutely a critical human edge.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. AI is raising the bar for us. I am a student. Is computer science still a lucrative field to study, Pranav?
Pranav, it's a very important question. See, I would say that everybody needs to understand computer science at some level, okay? Because in this technology-driven world, very AI-driven world, you can't be fearful of technology. Many people are just very scared of technology. So everybody needs to understand that. But at the same time, Pranav, AI is changing the game on technology. Its technology is moving very rapidly from building technology to consuming technology. So there, we'll need fewer people to build technology. Okay, I think that I'm pretty, I do see that happening. So I think the overall demand for developers, I think, will reduce. But the ones that will be there will be, will be lot more valued and will need to have much deeper skills and will therefore also likely be paid much higher. Okay, so the number of developers or the need for computer science graduates will shrink, but those that are needed will probably have 5x the value. Okay, so so you have to choose, right? You have to choose that, if you are really passionate about computer science, about design, uh, please go for it. Please go for it. Still, a lot of technology is out there to be built. Okay, for sure. But if you're doing computer science because it's a lucrative field to study, I could be doing computer science or mechanical engineering or degree in law and or become a doctor, but I'm choosing computer science because I think I'm going to get the highest paid job here. Then rethink. Okay, so it's not, computer science is not a safe option, but it's still, I would say, it's a high risk, high return option. Fewer jobs, but the jobs that will be there, will be very highly valued. So I would suggest that if you're passionate about it, you're good at it, please do it.
Okay. How can HR professionals be prepared for this shift, Stella?
Stella, HR is, I think, going to be talent, I think, and the talent change management is going to be, I think, one of the final frontiers for AI or realizing value from AI at scale. Because end of the day, it is all still about the talent. Okay, so as I said, for many tasks, the number of people may reduce, but it doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. And but maybe there is a, if I may put it somewhat bluntly, it's a move from quantity to quality. Okay, it's a move from quantity to quality. Now, how do you build that talent? I spoke about it earlier about the skills that are needed, which are very different. I think Nishta perhaps also asked that question about, as a student, what skills I should build. So there is a very, very big shift in terms of skills needed and therefore skilling approaches and what, and that's the task for HR, Stella. That's what they need to enable. And then, of course, there is the entire task of orchestrating, the change management on the ground. And also, how do you, there is, new type of talent, but how do you organize this talent? What does the new team model look like? What does the new organization model look like? I think that there's a lot that has to be done. So for HR professionals, there is a tremendous amount to be done, Stella, both from a design perspective, the team design, org design, driving change management, but at the same time, working with talent and how do you help them, how do you identify talent, but how do you also help them get ready for this huge new both challenge and set of opportunities that are in front of us. I would go so far to say that HR is perhaps one of the most valuable players in this whole change. It's like a major soap opera or major drama that is going to play out, and HR is perhaps one of the lead actors in this.
Okay. The next one is, what qualities do you value most in future enterprise product managers at Inseedo, and how can they use AI to perform better and create greater impact? Robin.
It's not just a question of Incedo, Rabin. Product managers is a very difficult job, because you're trying to be this bridge, between the customer and then the engineering team. And I think the most important skill for a product manager is what I call pattern recognition. Um, because what happens is that, oftentimes, there is one need or in a client, or maybe there are two or three needs that you see, and then immediately, you rush to, you say, oh, here is a product idea, and here is, and then very quickly, you get down to the level of features and uh, start building it, and you could be missing the mark completely. At the same time, if you say, okay, I'm going to do a very, very comprehensive product evaluation across all competing products in the market and do a detailed feature evaluation, that for sure, you will be lost in that. And for sure, you will not be able to come up with something differentiated, because you do need a certain intuition for that. Yeah. So you need to kind of, you need, to be able to connect the dots across multiple situations and what makes sense. And so you have to be fact based. At the same time, you also do need to have a certain customer intuition, which typically comes from some experience. And then you are able to translate this, in an effective way for the engineering team, because it's not just about features to be built. Finally, it's about a winning product, which will meet the needs of many, many clients. Okay, so pattern recognition is something which I would say is one of the things I value most in product managers. And the second part of your question, that AI is of course a game changer. AI is of course a game changer. What I find particularly exciting is that how it can be used to using Lovable or many such tools. How you can get workflows mocked up or entire prototypes done super quickly in like days, in days. And certainly the entire conversation around products, forget products, even client deliverables is moving from PowerPoints to prototypes and prototypes that work. So an AI, is a huge enabler in that. So the way you approach the product management lifecycle, AI has is a very, very big, kind of change agent across that lifecycle.
Okay, the next one is, will AI impact the white collar jobs in India? I mean, someone from CFA, CA, or IM background will be impacted. Ideally, they shouldn't be put but still a question. Ashish.
I am certainly like, I'm an IM graduate, and I don't feel at all that I am insulated from what is happening, Ashish. So just, a pedigree is no defense at all in the given the changes that are happening in the AI age. Now, CFA, CA, I think again, things which are maybe regulation driven or procedural to an extent, I think maybe more protected for a while. Ashwin also asked that question. So till the regulation is there, you have to follow it. But I think the regulations will also change at a period of time. But look, I already answered the question that AI is going to impact white collar jobs in India in a very significant way. So we should get ready. I don't think there is enough of a national debate on this topic. We should prepare ourselves for it. And I think the sooner we acknowledge it, I think more we will get down to doing something about it. I think there are steps that government is taking, and they are generally good steps. I feel that given the magnitude of likely impact in India, maybe the magnitude of the scale scope of steps to be taken needs to be 10x. Okay, but CFA, CA, IM, IIT, whatever you name it, if people are sitting on their laurels, if they're sitting on their pedigree, nothing can, AI will impact them. But equally, if one is, sees this as an opportunity, pushes oneself, and we have spoken about it, not just like business as usual, but human above the loop, reimagine, create something new. I think the opportunities are tremendous, but I also want to make it clear that maybe this pedigree or this elitist thinking will probably matter less in the AI age, because I think AI age is the moment of truth. It's like where the sifting of sands will happen. You have to deliver real value, and you just can't be sitting on your laurels.
Thank you. All right. The next one is, what are your observations in the last few months as conversations are shifting from POC to reinventing the business based on your interaction with senior leaders? Alpesh.
Alpesh, I think we're in a very interesting moment. I think that shift happened. I could see that shift happening very clearly in 2025. That 2024 was a lot about POCs. 2025 was a lot more of at least the conversations began around more business transformation, and a lot of focus on agentic AI and how do you use agentic AI to drive very, very significant change in processes. I also saw a lot of pressure coming top down from boards, on okay, if AI is such a big deal, we are investing in all this AI data infrastructure. We want to see impact. I could see a lot of that happening, but also I think there were I think 2 or 3 sobering realizations, Alpesh. I think the first is that a lot of the pilots or a lot of the implementations, they very quickly got to a certain point, maybe 40, 50, 60% predictive power, and you felt very good. Oh wow, such a complex thing, we have been able to get going so quickly. But then taking it from that level to like a 80, 85, 90%, where it can truly be put into production, has proven to be very tough. Yeah. So it just shows that, the point about context, Alpesh, which I've spoken quite a bit about, that is very, very, it's still, there's a lot of work to be done there. The context is still very important. And the method for building that, which is working with enterprise data and then kind of being able to build in context, is a very, very critical aspect, and time consuming. And that's where concepts like ontologies really come in, and companies like Palantir, which seem to have cracked the code on that, or at least that's the perception, you can see are also getting value tremendously with that. So that's kind of one of the key observations, that there was a lot of enthusiasm beginning of first 2 quarters of 2025. As we came to the end of the year, also beginning of 2026, I see a lot more of a reality check. I think senior execs are realizing that, yeah, there is a big opportunity, but realizing value from AI is not easy. This contextualization is a tough beast, to tame. So there is a lot of work to be done. The second observation that I have is that the overwhelming proportion of use cases, conversations are still internal efficiency driven, and there are obvious ROI issues with that, because you are no doubt saving operating costs, but the capital cost investment into the infrastructure, also just the sheer compute cost of running kind of large instances is very high. So there has to be a move from internal efficiency to more growth oriented use cases, and I haven't seen enough of that yet, and I think that's the big opportunity. So yes, there is still a lot to be done around internal efficiency, but I think 26 and 27, I would like to see a lot more of growth-oriented use cases with AI, and also, as a firm, I would like to make a lot more of that happen with my clients. So lot of the train is certainly moving. All of my clients are thinking about AI not in a hesitant fashion. They are thinking about it really as a force of transformation. That's a reality. But I think there's also a reality check on that's not easy to drive impact. And I think there is an opportunity which we yet have to get to, which is more focus on the end customer and more focus on growth and growth oriented use of AI.
All right. Thank you, Nitin, for that. And unfortunately, that's all the time we have today. Would you like to say anything, any message that you want to conclude this session with?
See, as over the last 5 months, I've had a number of conversations around AI. The question about jobs always comes in, and it's kind of there is a fear, there is a sense of, okay, tell me that secret mantra, by which I'll be able to protect my job or find a job which will remain forever. So look, we just have to just get used to the fact that with AI, the world is going to change, okay, and nothing is going to be given. So we just have to acknowledge that, and I think the sooner we do it, the more we'll be able to do with the many opportunities AI age provides us. And look, the disruption is so significant, is so palpable. There is so much to be done. And I would encourage, all listeners, whether you are a student, whether you are a young professional or you are a senior exec, to look at that part of the equation. That there is a reality today that you have to manage, but how can you use AI as a force of change, as a force of creating something which is more valuable for clients, more valuable for enterprises? I think there is so much to be done. Let's put our energy in that direction.
Thank you. And with that, we come to the close. And I'm sure today's session resonated deeply with people at every level in their careers, and they have found some direction to how to differentiate themselves and navigate the new world. In our upcoming episodes, we'll continue to explore some more such big questions around the impact and implications of the AI age. So do look out for those invites and join us again for the 4th edition. Thank you and bye-bye. Thank you, Nitin.
Thank you, Ida.
Bye-bye.